Hey guys, Tom Barton from TomBartonSports.com here. Once again, we're here to talk about the brackets. The Final Four is here. The whole world seems to be on Coach K, the whole conversation. We're going to get into the coaches. We're going to get into the Final Four. And my son is joining me because his bracket is better than yours. We're going to get into that in a moment, guys, and all of that stuff. Please, if you like the channel, subscribe, click that like button as well. Also, go check out TomBartonSports.com, Tom Barton Sports over on Twitter. I answer all those questions, and TomBartonSports@gmail.com. Well, let's get into it. The reason I brought Tommy on here, and yes, he's Tommy the third. The reason I brought Tommy on is because he filled out a bracket. Now, he's 8 years old, just turned 8 in January, and he doesn't follow college basketball all that well, but, he knows enough about it. And funny enough, he got 3 of the Final Four teams correct. So you had who? Give me the Final Four team. Duke. Who else?
Carolina.
North Carolina.
And
Kansas.
Kansas.
And who was your 4th team? Big eye roll. Chattanooga. Somehow or another, yeah, Chattanooga going, all the way to the Final Four. All right. So that was a bad one, and you're typical of an 8-year-old saying Chattanooga's just a cool name. But he got 3 of the 4 teams right, and I asked him, so, okay, now that we're here, now it's the nitty-gritty, Tommy. It's the Final Four. Who's winning it all?
Duke.
Duke, and why is Duke winning it all?
Because the coach.
Because the coach, Coach K. And, it's funny enough, I lived in the Triangle for a while. I'm actually North Carolina leaner, and I've said that before, but we have a Coach K t-shirt that we still have. So it is kind of funny. I've actually taken shots on Coach K court. So it's kind of funny that Tommy's rooting for Coach K. I will tell you this, though. There are people that are not rooting for Coach K. North Carolina is it's a rivalry, Tommy. They go head to head all the time. So you're one of those people that you're rooting for Coach K. You pick Coach K in your brackets, right, to move on. You have Coach K. But if Duke goes down to North Carolina, and then North Carolina takes on either Villanova or Kansas, who are you switching your allegiance to? Who's going to win?
Carolina.
North Carolina. So it doesn't all have to be terrible hate. That's why I'm wearing this jersey. It's a Luke Kuechly jersey. I figured, hey, at this point, because of Tommy's bracket, we are a Carolina family at this point, and we have a little family that lives there as well, right? And I think maybe that's why Tommy picked those teams. But hey, 3 of the 4, his bracket is better than yours. All right, thanks a lot, buddy. Say goodbye.
Bye.
All right, guys. So I want to talk to you guys about the Final Four itself and the coaching, because everybody is really paying attention to Coach K. But before I do that, I do want to bring on a Carolina fan who she has told me no matter what, she wants North Carolina, even over Duke. Gracie, say hello to everybody.
Hi.
You want North Carolina? Why?
Because I love them.
Because you love them. All right. That's as good as a spot as any and as good a reason as any. So let's talk about the coaches, right? Let's get into it. Look, Coach K is that guy that everybody understands. He is a legendary coach, and I do believe, getting back to this Final Four here, I do believe that Coach K now has the legacy to say he's the greatest coach of all time. And I know people are going to argue Wooden, and I get the argument for him, a great coach in his own right. And up until probably a couple of years ago, maybe considered the greatest coach of all time. You could talk about different generations and the problems that Coach K has had that Wooden really didn't face. But, to compare timeline to timeline, it is very difficult. Now, a lot of the conversation will be, well, he's got more championships, and he certainly does. For my money, Coach K is the best, but I didn't get to see him. I'm too young to have seen anybody else, really. Again, I'm not a Coach K fan. I'm not a Duke fan specifically, but I appreciate what he has done. Now he has an opportunity here to really write his legacy in a completely different direction. I mean, this really can be his legacy. First of all, making the Final Four in his final year is fantastic enough. But he's got so many subplots. North Carolina went out there, the Tar Heels, ruined his final game on his own court named after him. They ruined that. They didn't even win the ACC championship this year. But guess what? It gets all erased. If Coach K wins a championship overall and a national championship, we'll erase everything. So there are subplots of that. There's the revenge factor, of course. There is the idea that, look, this is the greatest rivalry in the history of college basketball. Bar none. They've met 250 plus times, never in the NCAA tournament. And when did they meet in the NCAA tournament? In Coach K's final year, in the Final Four, for a chance to go to the championship. I sat down with Ian O'Connor on my radio show a couple of weeks ago, right before that final game. And we were talking, because he wrote the Coach K book, and we were talking about the emotions. And he made a point and he said, the emotions can work for you or they can work against you as a player on that team, because there's a immense pressure now on them to not be the team that kind of, the game that he goes down or the player that misses and Coach K's career is over. So there's immense pressure. And he did mention to me that in Wooden's final year, the players stepped up and they really did that. And one of the things that we went back and forth about is, would that pressure work against them? And it seemed to on the Coach K final night. There was about 100 former players there. Sure. But now it looks like it's working for them. And this is the kind of team that you can kind of get behind. I know everybody hates Duke. I get it. You either love them or you hate them. They're the Yankees that are like the Lakers, that are like the Dallas Cowboys. But there is a certain semblance of, this isn't his best team. And Coach K often does that. He wins without his best team. This isn't his best team, but he's got a chance to continue on. And standing in his way is North Carolina. And look at North Carolina and Hubert Davis and what he's done. We all thought Jay Williams was leaving, and oh boy, the program is going to go kind of into the toilet for a couple of years. So, you know what? Look, they're back. They are fully back. They're back into the Final Four. They're an 8th seed. They've been playing their best basketball of the season. You can see they have the size. They have the length. This is a team that's playing with massive confidence. And they know they could go. They went into Coach K and all of that emotion, and they beat them. They know they could beat this team. So this makes for just a tremendous clash between those two. But guys, it's not just about those two either, right? We're all focused on Duke, North Carolina for good reason. It's Duke, North Carolina. I get it. But on the other side, you have Bill Self, already a Hall of Fame basketball coach. But Bill Self, in 17 years, has 15 regular season Big 12 championships, but he's only got one national championship. Bill Self isn't exactly Aaron Rodgers. He's not exactly the Drew Brees, the guy with just one that has a magical career. But it's starting to kind of feel like that. He almost needs that second one to give himself validation with Kansas and what they've done. Kansas is one of the premier, maybe you could say the premier. I know they have the most wins, maybe the premier program in the country as far as college basketball goes. Very well might be the premier program in the country, and they only have 3 national championships. Bill Self just has 1. So getting that second one on the ledger, yeah, that would be pretty huge. And then you have Jay Wright. Jay Wright is the relative newcomer when you're talking about great coaches. He is 60 years old because he did coach at Hofstra and whatnot, but Jay Wright has formed Villanova into just an absolute powerhouse. He's got a chance to win his 3rd national championship in 6-7 years here, right? He's got an opportunity now. Well, not even an opportunity. He's brought his team now to a 4th Final Four in that same time span. Jay Wright is making this team, Villanova, be one of the blue bloods. That's what they are now. And Jay Wright, if he's able to add a national championship to his ledger at 60 years old, you could start saying, Coach K, as great as you were, Jay Wright has a possibility in 10 years, 12 years, right? When he's 72 years old, like Coach K, maybe that Jay Wright is the next. So it's not just about Duke, North Carolina, although many people are going to make it about Duke and North Carolina. As far as the tournament itself goes, just my thoughts, unbelievable tournament. Early on, it's funny, I was in Atlantic City, and early on in the tournament, we were making a lot of comments, and a lot of people in the sports book. It wasn't as exciting as the last couple of years, right, with Oral Roberts and the last second shots, and then it just went nuts, right? Wednesday night was fantastic with the double overtime with Notre Dame, but then it just went absolutely crazy. I think we're going to look at this tournament, no matter who wins, because you have 4 tremendous teams, and I'll go over that in a moment. But we're going to look at this tournament as just one of the greatest tournaments of all time. Sure, it's going to be called the St. Pete's Tournament because, look, a 15 seed made it further than ever before. But they're not the only underdog that made it really far. Look, Miami was a 10 seed. Iowa State was an 11 seed. And we would have been talking about them as the Cinderella teams just more than anything if St. Pete's didn't exist. They would have been the fun story. Larinaga would have been all over your television. That would have been where we went to. But it was all for naught. Notre Dame had a Cinderella story of their own with double overtimes getting into the tournament and what they did. So there's been a lot of good stories. Number 1's going down. Baylor went down early. Kentucky went down early as a 2. We had 1 seeds. TCU almost took out Arizona, and then Arizona went down, and Auburn went down. we had a lot of that. But it's all going back to St. Pete's. Here's the thing, until right now. Because while this might be the St. Pete's tournament, if Coach K wins, it's the Coach K tournament. If Coach K wins, it's all about Duke all day long. This is what we're going to know. It's going to be the Duke tournament. It's just that way. What about the Villanova tournament? Can it be the Villanova tournament? Well, Villanova's down to pretty much no bench. They got injured again. Colin Gillespie and Samuels are going to have to kind of really ride the day here. Can it be 3 times a charm? And does that turn into the Villanova tournament? Or do we still say, no, it's still St. Pete's tournament? What about Kansas? Kansas putting that second one up, right? Kansas looks like a machine. Kansas looks like it's got really the feeling of a champion right now. Does it become the Kansas tournament? Or how about North Carolina? You want to talk about a Cinderella story? Let me show you the North Carolina Tar Heels. Because no team has had a lower bracket than North Carolina, right? Only an 8 seed was the only time we've ever had a lower bracket, and North Carolina's an 8 seed. They are the true Cinderella. St. Pete's did a nice job, but they are the true Cinderellas here. Not only are they an 8 seed, but they also have to go through Duke, Coach K in the Final Four in his final year. If they're able to do that, it adds to the Cinderella legacy. And they will again be underdogs to either Villanova or Kansas. It won't matter because as an 8 seed, they are. So while today we're calling it the St. Pete's tournament, right? I do believe that next week when I do a video, if I mention the NCAA tournament, what is the video going to be about? It's going to be about, it's now the Coach K tournament. It's now the North Carolina UNC tournament. Might be the Villanova tournament. It might be the Kansas tournament. So things do change. I will just say this. It's been a fantastic tournament overall. It's been really, really great. My brackets, look, I fill out 2 brackets every single year. One, I had Tennessee winning it. I told you guys about that. I know me and Abby kind of filled out our brackets. The other, I had Kansas winning it. My son destroyed me. He got 3 or 4 right. And I'm telling you that he probably destroyed you guys for verification purposes, because people are going to go, that's not true. I don't believe it. I put this out on Twitter because I thought it was funny that he had Chattanooga going so far. I put it out on Twitter. I put a screenshot. You guys can go check that out at Tom Barton Sports. I just think it's fantastic. Maybe it's a proud papa moment, and that's all I'm having here is a proud daddy moment. But I think it's kind of cool to still have 3 of the 4 left by an 8-year-old who doesn't really watch college basketball all that much. He's going to finish in the money in the pool that I put him in. He's going to make a little bit of dough, and he could make a lot of dough if Duke and Coach K continue. So are we a Duke household now? Oh, I don't know about that because my little daughter, Gracie, she might not like the Duke angle. She's a North Carolina fan. We already have a split house at this age. All right, guys, tell me your thoughts. Tell me who you're rooting for. Tell me how your brackets did. If you guys want to tell me, I did better than your son, I'm 4-4. Sure, I'm listening, right? Send those in. Please like this channel, subscribe, and go check me out. It's TomBartonSports.com, Tom Barton Sports over on Twitter. And like I said, TomBartonSports@gmail.com. Have a very good day, everybody.